Folks, the moment has finally arrived where Paul George and Joel Embiid are both set to presumably return Wednesday night when the Chicago Bulls visit Philadelphia. And Paul George has missed the last 25 games due to suspension for taking a performance-enhancing drug, and Joel Embiid has missed the last 13 games for suffering somehow the worst oblique strain in the history of the NBA, of course. So where does that leave us? Let's just analyze what happened on Tuesday. Paul George comes out, and, he's away from the team during the PED suspension, so he can't talk to the media, he can't sit on the bench or whatever, he can practice with the team, all that. So he sits down and he speaks to the media for the first time, and they ask him, what drug did you take? And of course, he doesn't want to answer, which is okay. That's well within his right, but it's just like, whatever. And then he goes on to say that it was actually, he pulls the bullshit, silver lining card. And he says, it was a good thing that he didn't say it was a good thing, but he said there was the bright spot in the suspension is that I was kind of injured while I was playing. And it's just like, really, dude? You were injured? 27 games into the season. You just scored 30 points against the Bucks. And then he played the Kings game, and then after that game is when he got suspended. But it's like, so that's supposed to make us feel better. That we gave you this contract extension that's already a disaster because you got suspended and you've been dealing with various injuries. And you didn't perform up to expectations, not even close last year. But now we're supposed to feel better that you got suspended because you got time to heal because you were injured. Not even a quarter into the season. So that's what we're dealing with Paul George. When it comes to Joel Embiid, I can only react to what the team tells us, what Joel Embiid tells us. And when I say what Joel Embiid tells us, it's because we know through previous history that Joel Embiid heavily influences what goes out there. Remember when he got the meniscus surgery? They never called it a surgery. They called it a procedure. They drilled that into our head. So Joel Embiid suffers a strained oblique, and this was 13 games ago. So this was more than a month ago at this point. He's missed all this time, and we've heard that he's coming back on this road trip, this previous road trip. He never came back. We heard that he didn't suffer a setback. And so what are we to believe then? He's coming back. Hopefully tomorrow he's listed as questionable. But he was listed as doubtful against the Kings. That was like 3 games ago. Then he doesn't come back against the Kings. He doesn't come back against the Jazz. Then he doesn't come back last game against the Thunder. So that's 3 extra games he misses, on top of the games that he already missed. Keep in mind, the average time missed due to a strained oblique is like 4.2 games. Now, I get it. Every player is different. There's different variations of strained oblique. There's a mild strain. There's like all that. I'm not a doctor. All that I can tell you is that any injury that Joel Embiid has, it will take way longer for him to return. And it's the most infuriating thing ever. And I'm tired of it. And it's okay to be tired of it. We have all these fans that just say, like, the most important thing is getting healthy for the playoffs, is being healthy for the playoffs. And that's fine if the Sixers ever proved that they could make it to the playoffs and win a title. But since this team isn't capable of winning a title, I don't think there's anything wrong with simply wanting to see the team play well and see the best players play. When you go to the movie theater, does everybody say, the first hour and 15 minutes of the movie kind of sucks ass, but as long as the last 10 minutes nails it, it'll be okay? Like, no. I want to be able to enjoy my team play the majority of the season. What is hard to understand about this? I'm not okay with Joel Embiid, Paul George, all these players missing 30-plus games just so they can have like a 50% chance of making it to the playoffs healthy. We have to get out of this mindset. This idea that it's okay for Joel Embiid to sit out every time he experiences any bruise or cut or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those fans that says Joel Embiid's soft. Lord knows he's played through things that I couldn't even imagine playing through. But it gets to a certain point where you're just tired of it. And I'm sick of hearing the excuse that, all that matters is they get to the playoffs healthy. For what? So they can play together for like the 15th time? These people live in a fantasy world where they think, the talent comes together and it doesn't matter. The chemistry doesn't matter. Once they're all on the court, it'll all start gelling. They'll make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's like, that's not how the NBA works. It's just not how it works. It's not how it's ever worked. It will most likely never work like that. And so it's just frustrating that we have to sit through these seasons that it's like, okay, Joel Embiid maybe comes back tomorrow and he averages 30 points the rest of the year, and maybe he's in the playoffs healthy. But they won't win the title. And in the meantime, are we enjoying tuning into the Sixers every night? No. Somehow they had a winning record with Paul George out, but this included multiple losses where they lose by 30 points. We have to be subjected to Kyle Lowry getting minutes, Andre Drummond getting extended minutes, these three big lineups. Daryl Morey commits these treasonous acts as he trades away Jared McCain for no reason. I mean, this has not been an enjoyable season. It started off as one. Joel Embiid was getting his feet under him. He was starting to look like the MVP of old. VJ Edgecombe was great. Tyrese Maxey took the All-NBA leap. And then everybody gets injured, and then we're told by these fans that act like they're better than everybody else that the only thing that matters is they make it to the playoffs healthy. And I'm sorry, it's not. The NBA is an entertainment product. It's about keeping the fans entertained. You're not keeping anybody entertained when 4/5 of your starting lineup is on the bench. Now, Tyrese Maxey got injured. It's a fluke. He's not an injury-prone player. He was playing the most minutes in the league. He hurt his finger. He played 60 games. I'm not going to kill the guy. But Joel Embiid and Paul George are a different story. And there's no point of harping on their contracts and wanting to trade them, this, or whatever, because I have no control over that, and it's probably not likely. But I just want to push back against this ridiculous notion that the only thing that matters is they make it to the playoffs healthy. They should do everything in their power to ensure that. They shouldn't be reckless in playing them if they're injured. But let's not act like these past 2 or 3 months have been enjoyable basketball and we're okay with going through this every year just so they can maybe be healthy. Because guess what? Joel Embiid's probably still going to get injured. And Paul George is still going to get injured. So it's just frustrating. But hopefully they make it back tomorrow. And now they have no room for error. We were waiting for you to get back. You took it nice and easy, Joel. You could have came back a few games ago. You didn't. You better win every winnable game. Because God knows you lost a lot of winnable games even when Joel Embiid was playing. You lost to the Nets. You lost to the Nuggets when they were playing their G League. Like, we've been through it all. I've talked about it ad nauseum. I don't want to even go over it again. So it's really time to get it going. Get in the top 6. Create some separation from the play-in and see what happens in the playoffs. But it starts tonight against the Chicago Bulls, where hopefully they both play. And just pray to God that they stay healthy, and we'll see what happens. I'll see you guys next time. Give me a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.